of the two entities that make perfect playing on a trumpet, what are they? What are the two entities? Air and being well dressed, good personality,
musicianship.
all the time.
Musicianship. I'm not sure.
Embouchure.
Okay.
Right? Embouchure and air is the key. There's a perfect marriage between those two. I didn't make that up. It's just the truth. There's a lot of other important things, but it's all bordered on those two things. How much air do you use with what kind of a setting of your embouchure? Okay? Which one were you born with? A lot of people say they warm up and get their air going. What a crock. I'd do this once. A little bit of an embouchure. Try to make it steady. Okay, your air's warmed up. There's a few people in the world that don't use their air well. Try to remember this. Barbara's a woman. She was always thought of air a lot. She's a woman. And air can be bad, but most of the time I'm correcting people who use way too much air. They're overblowing and they tighten up. They spread their chops apart trying to get high notes. That's what you did in the Leonore number 2. It was almost spread apart. You want to stay focused. So of those two, embouchure and air, the one we've had to develop over the years definitely was not air. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
That was not a trick question. That was true. Or a statement. The embouchure is what we've had to develop. The air is just a good support, and it will simply, we can't vibrate our lips without it.
I think this is not an excuse, it's just a history. Most of my teachers have been like, more air, take a deeper breath. That's like
Jason started here.
Yeah.
Arnold Jacobs, missing part of a lung, and he played the tuba. Guess what he thought about a lot? And guess who was one of his prize students? Chicklets. Mm-hmm. Air was the key. Even still to this day, even though I love her playing, the biggest solution for everything, Gail Williams, is air. She's forgotten how much she developed her embouchure, which is unbelievable. She's got great chops for playing the horn. She's forgotten it. That's where we have to work. We have to teach our students how to focus their chops and that's how you get this brilliance. But you can tell, you can see, I'm not overblowing so much as I'm trying to be brilliant and focused. And that's the only way. That's how we play high. It's this. If I try to overblow that with a lot of air, I hardly played that mezzo forte, but it sounded pretty loud because it was brilliant. The brilliance is what's going to spin. Your tendency is to want to play louder than you need to. Almost everything I say, don't play so loud. You don't have to do that. Think of beauty and brilliance in your focus. And back off on the air. You don't have to take that much. Even with all that huge breath you took, you still couldn't get through the promenade without leaving a big gaping hole. Mm-hmm. So it has nothing to do with quantity. It has to do with the fast breath. Your concept is, like you said, that's all you've heard. There's a lot of teachers that simply don't think. They just teach the way they were taught. They don't think. I'm not suggesting I have all the answers, but I spent a lot of time refuting almost everything I heard, especially here in Chicago. That's all everybody talked about was air. And I knew that didn't help me. What's going on here?
blowing your lips apart.
Yeah. But one of your cronies probably would have said air.
Sure.
Yeah, there's plenty of air, you could hear it. But my chops aren't vibrating, so they're not married to the air. So we understand that. And there's something about take a big breath forces a kid to sort of exhale it. And if they keep their chops together at all, and then there's like grinning, so it's not a bad entry. Just like mobile tonguing, da 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 da, is a good entry to make it work. But then you have to go the next step. What's the results you want with your mobile tongue? What's the results you want with your air? I don't ever want to breathe like you were breathing. I never want to do that. My goal for playing the trumpet is to be as relaxed, comfortable with my body as possible. Use breath. Not written, but I do it. It makes it easier. But you see, I never was working. Was I working with my?
No.
I'm working like mad here. Of course, the flexibility I need to do. This is what I had to develop. I didn't have to develop anything with my air. I didn't have to think about it that much. But that's all I heard. Not while I was a student. Chigwitz was very normal. But when he stopped playing, which was almost a year or two after he quit the orchestra, when I moved up to second trumpet, now he's basing on theoretical and stuff that he remembered from Jacobs, and air became the cure-all for everything. He actually said this. It sort of makes sense. He said, if the air is healthy, the embouchure will fall into place. Maybe. But what I demonstrated when I aired out on the note, that's not healthy air. That's way too much air. So I very rarely have to have a student be thinking of moving more air through their horn. I don't care how weak they are. I have to worry about them. I would rather have them learn to do this. And then they'll learn to play it louder.
Mm-hmm.
That's healthy. Back off in the air so it doesn't spread your chops apart before you're strong enough to do it. The first entrance into playing high would be softer. Doesn't have to be even that high. Have your kids do slurred scales. They don't have to stop at the top, but if they play it right, with just the right, a little diminuendo going to the top so they're not spraying their chops, and then crescendo on the way down, they will get the feeling like, I could hold that note all day long. And that's right.